Now let's go to the White House, where Alexandria Hoff joins us with the latest. Hey, Alexandria.
Hey, good to be with you. You know, the conversation you were just having, I think, illustrates something that the president was speaking to. Americans are able to easily have that conversation on, hey, the ceasefire was made. Let's not just unload on everybody now, just to try to drive somebody into the sand here to end this thing. That's a conversation Americans can have. Now, the point President Trump is making is that Israel, Iran, they're belligerent by history. I mean, this is to give up an opportunity to maybe drive the other side down when you have a period of time before the ceasefire, the deadline, goes into effect. Who wouldn't take that opportunity if this is the way that you've grown up and the kind of countries you've grown up into? But in the time that President Trump was making those very passionate, very frustrated remarks to reporters earlier, he did indeed speak with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and he says that the ceasefire is back on. Writing on Truth Social, Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, the president was also vocal this morning about disrespect he feels has been shown to the B-2 pilots who successfully completed the grueling Operation Midnight Hammer on Saturday. He says those doubting the mission's effectiveness are undermining the pilots' work, adding on Truth Social, Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities. He's there speaking to the extent of the destruction he feels the U.S. unleashed on those sites. Right now, President Trump is on a 7-hour flight to Amsterdam. He will be attending the first NATO summit since his re-election. It will be a big one. Of course, arriving with being able to say, I've achieved peace in the Middle East. I've helped foster that. That would be a grand goal. And he's hoping to arrive there in 7 hours' time with that in hand. But there's also other pressing matters. I mean, you have the war of Ukraine and Russia. That will be clearly a point of discussion as well. But there is a victory for President Trump that appears to have had early on. He had hoped to have allies while he was at The Hague at this NATO summit commit to a 5% defense spending pledge that would increase their defense spending. And it appears that member nations, all member nations have signed on to that, aside from Spain. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Spain says, we're not going to do that. We have other things we want to spend it on. Maybe soccer jerseys. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you so much. All right, Mike Tobin is live on the ground in Israel with the latest for us. Hey, Mike.
Hi there. And updating what the president said, it was actually 2 missiles, according to the IDF, that came into the north of this country and, according to Israelis, violated the ceasefire agreement. The president said he needs to get the Israelis to calm down. What he's talking about are statements like this one that came from the defense minister, Israel Katz. The IDF to respond forcefully to Iran's violation of the ceasefire with high-intensity strikes against regime targets. And that is because of those 2 missiles that were shot down. They did not result in any injury in the north of the country. And that when the ceasefire was about 4 hours old. As the ceasefire was just getting ready to take effect, missile strikes came into the country. One of them got through the defenses and hit here in the town of Be'er Sheva. The impact you can see behind me, that giant crater that's inside of that apartment building, that is the precise area of impact. There was a family of 4 that went into the bomb shelter. These bomb shelters do a good job of protecting people in the blast radius, not when they take a direct impact like that. That family was killed. Now, when these waves of rockets were fired at Israel, the launchers were detected. Israeli fighters were in the sky, and they fired upon them. One Israeli police spokesman says that's the difference between Israel and Iran. Israel fires at the military infrastructure. Iran fires at civilians.
These are civilian neighborhoods. There's no army base right around us in the immediate vicinity. There's no sensitive security site. They're hitting hospitals, places of worship. Be'er Sheva, which is an area that has a mixed community of both Muslims and Jews. These targets have no direct religion in their crosshair. The only thing in their crosshair is our civilians.
You had a family of 4 that was killed in this strike. You had about 26 people who were injured, and now you have a ceasefire that is hanging in the balance and a very frustrated U.S. president. Guys, back to you.
Right. It's also important to point out, I mean, if Iran really shot those rockets by mistake, there's ways to communicate that government to government, correct?
Yes, there is, and you saw the Qataris communicated before they fired the rockets at the base near Doha. So there is a way to communicate that, but of course there's plenty of time to watch those rockets fly at Israel, detect them, and intercept them. That is what happened. But what you have now is, of course, is the political fallout that you were kind of getting at there.
So, Mike, when we just talked to the president right before the 8 o'clock hour, he said that those fighter jets for Israel returned back home. Have you heard anything from your sources on the ground?
I have not heard that. That's one of those things that the Israelis will tell you. We're not going to tell you about future ops. Right now, we have not heard that the Israeli fighter jets are returning home. And I think the political echelon right now is trying to determine how to respond to the president's comments.
Roger. All right, Mike, thank you so much. Great job reporting on all this.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.